What's going on, good people? What's going on? I had to log off and come back on. What's going on? I'm not going to have you on here too long. And I know because of the situation where people are, like I said, getting out work or whatever, you may or may not even see the live. And it's okay. It is okay. The video will be reposted. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. So, for those who are interested in knowing more about what I have to say, I appreciate you guys tuning in and clicking on the video. I had to start a new fresh live because there were some issues with the last live stream. But the young lady who was on, Miss Kizzy, she was able to actually go ahead and say the things she wanted to say as it relates to what she wanted to talk about related to taxes. So that video was posted. What I wanted to mention a few things on my end, some important facts that need to be discussed. And if you haven't already listened to those videos that I was telling people, this market is wild. We already know we had several things that take place over the last 12 months. We had the pandemic, the last 3 years. We had the real estate interest rate changing. We had a lot of things that took place over the last 3 years. Now, during the time when the market was hot and the rates were low, we had plenty of bidding wars. A lot of people did still not even get a chance to buy then because they didn't have enough money or the income. We've had people in Georgia, homes being sold for $30,000 or $40,000 more than what they were appraised at, because you got people coming from California, New York, and all over who are able to afford these properties and putting more money into them and putting more money down. So, with that being said, it puts us in a serious situation for the first time home buyers with low income and not enough savings. If you haven't gotten anything from my videos or from what I've told you guys, your income plays a major role. You really need to make sure that you have your income and credit in place, no matter who you are, no matter where you live, because that is the key to getting your home. And keep in mind, if you're looking at properties before you get an approval, you set yourself up for failure. No one knows exactly what you're going to qualify for until we actually get the approval. So therefore, you're taking a risk of searching at homes and looking at homes that you will not even qualify for, or you might be able to get something even better depending on your financial circumstances. Secondly, as it pertains to your credit, I cannot stress the importance of people understanding how to read your credit reports. You need to be taking time to review your credit reports. You need to be taking time to really understand how credit works. There's tons of information out there now. Previously, we grew up, we may not have the knowledge. Our parents may not have the information to share with us. Nowadays, there's tons of YouTube videos, tons of information on the internet. No one is left behind. So if you haven't already done so, training yourself and having accurate knowledge of how credit works is the most important thing you can do at this point in life. We're not getting any younger. And if you have any offsprings, whether it be your biological children, you have, your stepchildren, whether you have grandkids, whether you have nieces and nephews, or just your friends' kids, you want to be educating these people early on in life, because just like there's a credit score, there are about 30 different systems that's reporting data about you that lasts for a lifetime. Everything you do from the time you establish credit, from the time you finish school, is documented, recorded, and is there forever. So the most important thing you can be doing now is learning about how credit works, understanding these things, and teaching your family members and friends about what you've learned. Each one teach one. As it pertains to knowledge, knowledge is power. So if you are not understanding how it works, the good news is there's tons of information online. There's tons of information on YouTube. I could help you, whatever it is that you're trying to do. But if you don't take the time to prepare yourself, you set yourself up for failure as it relates to wanting to become a homeowner. We know that a lot of people are stressed out about the interest rate. Now, come on. I bought homes 20 years ago. We were not paying no 3% then, but we still had to have a place to live. And the cost of homes were a lot cheaper. Now, the cost of homes are higher and the rates are higher. Think about it, 5 years from now, even if the rate goes back down, the homes at the price they are now is going to be higher. So the cost of living will continue to rise. And if you're renting and you're paying high rent, you're going to keep paying high rent. And the thing about it is, you won't own anything. It's never too late to buy a house. But of course, your income play a major role. If you're stuck on a job, you've been there 20 or 30 years, and you're making what high school students are coming out making, you set yourself up for failure because the cost of living is continuing to rise. So in our community, we need to understand, how are 23-year-old people who are not minorities buying properties and don't even make the money that you make? How are young people buying properties? Last year, in the last 2 years, I've sold homes to individuals in their 20s. They didn't go out and buy no expensive $200,000-$300,000 home. Now, one couple did. I think the house they bought was in the 200s, but it was a very low 200s, maybe close to 200, 175. But the average um, um, individuals who were under 30 bought homes that were under 200,000. Now the cost of homes have gone up. They were able to acquire nice little homes. Now, during that time, how are these individuals who make less money able to qualify? First and foremost, location. Your location where you live play a major role. Besides the location, you need to understand everything else plays a role. Your income. So, for an example, your debt to income ratio plays a major role. What you have going in and what you have coming out. What you have coming in and what you have going out. So if you make low income, but you have a car note, student loan debt, credit card debt, that's going to impact the approval amount and what you can get and what you can obtain. So if you are trying to purchase a home with low income, you need to understand you might have to partner with someone, a significant other. I'm not telling you to go out and get your kids' credit involved. We need to get out of that. You want your kids to be able to live their life. So don't depend on that. What it is, though, if you know that you're trying to acquire property, all you need is 2 years income tax filed. And we want to make sure you have a solid income for those 2 years. The approval amount is going to be solely based on your income and your credit. Now, we all know, we've heard people can buy a home at a 580 credit score. Keep in mind, 580 is bad credit. It's not excellent credit. It's not good credit. It's poor credit. You can have poor credit because you don't have enough credit established. So it doesn't mean that because you're in a situation where you have a 580 that you have horrible credit. It could be a lack of credit, meaning that you have not established enough credit to be able to build a credit score. Even collection provides a credit score. So you might have had a medical bill hit your credit and you haven't even established credit. That medical bill is still going to be on your credit and going to provide a score. Now, once that medical bill is removed, you won't have a score. So as you know, you can have credit scores, but it's not necessarily positive credit history because of what's being reported. In order to have a good history and a good score, you have to establish credit. These are things that you would think everybody know. So just because you might be knowledgeable about it doesn't mean everyone is knowledgeable. This is why it's important to understand how credit works. Everybody does not understand how credit works. I have people that I've done credit repair on and they still don't get it. At the end of the day, we educate you on things you need to understand. Credit plays a major role in your overall success in life, period. Because believe it or not, yes, you can pay cash for things, but a lot of things, they're going to pull your credit to see where you are. Even to rent, they're going to pull your credit. Even to get a car, unless you're paying cash for a car, they're going to pull your credit. So at the end of the day, credit matters and credit works. I'm not telling someone to go out and get in debt. I'm not telling you go and get tons of credit cards. You need 3 good streams of income. I mean, not strings of income. It would be nice to have 3 strings of income, but I mean 3 lines of credit. So if you are someone who's starting out, you might have to start with a secure credit card. If you have not already established credit in your name, it may be hard for you to get a credit card. But Capital One is good about giving you your first credit card. I remember I was 17, right before I turned 18, I got an offer in the mail and I started my line of credit with Capital One. It was my first credit card. They only gave me $200. I was so happy. I think I bought a I think I bought what it was. I bought an Asher calculator, one of them calculators you need for school, which was expensive back then. Those calculators were high because it was one of those calculators to help you understand math with algebra, trigonometry, and all that stuff back in high school. So it was expensive. Now keep in mind that's been over. I'm in my 40s now. That's been over 30, but that's been pretty much over 20 some years ago. Times are changing. If you're trying to establish credit, you have to start from the bottom if you have not established credit. You may have to get a secured account. It's different types of accounts. And I will tell you, the more money you make, the more you get approved for. And I've seen some people who get approved for large lines of credit, but they do not understand how credit works and they end up getting a hole. Those credit cards are not for you to go splurge on because you have to pay it back. And unless you're paying it off, you're going to be paying high interest and you're going to be paying more in interest than you are in the actual payment. This is why I educate people on the importance of understanding that if you are using credit, you need to understand how it works. Because if you only get $300, that's not a lot of money. By the time you get some groceries, some gas, it's already maxed out. So the goal would be for you to get what you need to get out of that. How you use $300? Well, if you're trying to use it for credit building, you're only going to use it once a month. Get some gas, pay a bill, pay it off. You don't want to use over 30%. If you happen to need to use that, the key is to pay it off before the billing cycle due date, not the bill date, not when the bill is due. Your billing cycle date on your credit card statement is not the bill due date. There's a billing cycle start and end date. Understand the billing cycle start and end date will give you an indication of when your cycle ends and when it starts. During that time, nothing is reported on your credit. It is reported on your credit after the billing cycle date ends. So you really need to understand these things so that you can have success in understanding how credit works. So if you did use more than 30% and you use 50% or 100%, if you do not pay it off before the end of that cycle, it's going to report on your credit and it's going to cause you to have a negative impact, meaning your scores may drop. So that's just some tidbit of information that I hope that I was able to share for you. You guys are understanding if you're trying to become a homeowner, you need to know your credit plays a major role and impact on what you can qualify for. Your income is the determining factor if you even have enough income to qualify at all, because the cost of living is high. So depending on where you live at, you may not be able to get a home for 100K. Sad to say, Alabama does have property in the 100K, but a lot of these properties are not in livable condition, so they're cash or conventional only. Some of them can be fixed, but if you don't have money, you're not going to probably qualify for those. So money, income, and savings play a major role. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys. I know that people were logging in and logging off. So I'm going to get out of here. Thank you for tuning in. Bye bye.